Welcome to the Grey Pill Podcast, where truth's unveiled, exploring the depths beyond what is retail. Conspiracies, esoteric knowledge so enthralling. Open up your mind, let's dive into the sprawling. Oh yeah. Grey Pill awaken, question what you know. Peeling back the latest, let your curiosity grow. Uncover hidden realities, break the mold. Come take the journey, let your mind unfold.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Grey Pilled Podcast. I am your host, Jules, here with y'all on a Friday night Grey Pill. We usually go live every Friday night, sometimes a little later than this. But I have a guest tonight, guys, the one and only Dustin Nemos. Dustin, what's going on, brother?
I've been busy. Haven't got much sleep lately, but appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak about some of these fun topics. And we can go into anything.
Hell yeah, dude. Big fan of your work. I was just going to kind of, I'm sure most people that are watching probably know who you are, but did you want to kind of tell people a little bit about you?
I like to basically simplify as much as possible. I wear a lot of hats. I'm basically end times Gandalf.
I like that. End times Gandalf.
Yeah, it's an easy way for me to simplify. I'm an autodidact polymath Parrhesiastes. I'm a self-taught sage on many topics, and I win all of my debates and on a number of topics. And I'm not bragging. I am no one a sinner. But the truths that I have found and rediscovered, fallen in the street about our ancient past, our history, everything goes back to the Bible and such. Those are the things that I stand on, and those are what win the debates. It's not me, it's the truth, and the truth is powerful. And some people don't want to accept some of these ancient topics, but I mean, I see even in your background here, me being new to your podcast, you have some like cryptozoology, ancient kingdom type stuff going on. So I think we'll be right in the right place here.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude. You go into a lot of stuff that I was researching for years before I even started to follow Christ. I was an atheist. I think you were as well. And funny thing about me, my grandfather was adopted by a Jewish family. And I left the temple when I didn't have a bar mitzvah or anything. I just never fit in there. They didn't like my family because we didn't we didn't look like any of them. Maybe they knew that we weren't Jewish. But we were just treated like shit, and it kind of drove me away from God. But now I think that may have happened for a reason. Finding out later that I am 0% Sephardic, Mizrachi, or whatever it's called, or Ashkenazi Jewish, and I'm like 97.8 Northwestern European. So learning this stuff and kind of like having a little experience with what you talk about, growing up in that religion, you do expose a lot of these things that a lot of people don't know, and a lot of people are too scared to talk about. So I'm happy you're here. I know my audience is very happy that you're here. What's going on,
I hope
guys?
I can help provide some value. Usually I can at least connect a dot or two to help people along the way. And what I'm doing is I'm bringing my hidden history archive of all the censored stuff and some of these great experts from all over time, even Jesus himself. I'm bringing these experts to show all the evidence. And I basically can always back up anything I say, even if it's way out there. There's probably me beating some PhD in a debate on it already.
Dude, I love your debates, man. That's what kind of got me into you at first, was listening to you debate like Adam Green and a few other people. Dude, yeah, him and we were talking about it, and we're going to talk about it a little bit, guys, but the episode is not going to be just about that. We're going to get into fallen angel shit, some Nephilim shit. So but yeah, man, that space last night was something, but you held your ground, and you always do. You always do. It's very impressive, man. So
Well, I will say it's funny that a group, basically like a huge group of QAnon clickbait and other
A bunch
folks
of
who
JQ people. Yeah, yeah.
the Jews, the liars, and the pedophiles all came at me at the same time. To huge accounts, many of them. It started with me exposing Ariel for child porn, and he basically said, "No, you." He picks some baseless fake news clickbait troll site that says I'm QAnon and literally instructs people to lie about me to piss me off. It
Wow.
tells them to all these weird things. Anyway, it's on the post about Ariel at nemosnewsnetwork.com/fake news. If people want to follow it, this website
Nemos
is their
News
source
Network.
for calling me. They put me through 9 hours of struggle session and called me a pedophile repeatedly. Went through my criminal record, couldn't find anything at all related to children. Started going through everything else that they could try to tear through, even my hot dog cart business. Doxed my wife, attacked my children, and
Yeah,
basically
I
wouldn't
heard that.
me speak or defend myself for 9 straight hours. And then the rest of today, the last 24 hours, I basically spent defending myself from people like In the Matrix and Ariel and Stu Peters. And there's so many now. There is Handsome Truth. There's Adam Green.
Yeah.
Truth Teller, big space guy. I mean, there's a bunch of these guys who've piled on me with no evidence. They are just pushing this lie. Even when I told them it was false, they continue to double down, which makes me think it's intentional, malicious, and there may be a lawsuit. But you know,
Yeah,
people in
absolutely.
my audience know that I've been fighting for children since 2017, and I've suffered and lost a lot of stuff. I've lost so much, almost everything, in fact, except my own family for this cause. And I would never harm a child. In fact, I think anyone who does should be legally
Yes.
tried and then slowly killed.
Yes, absolutely, man. Okay. Well, we're on the same page there. So no, and
Yeah.
you definitely, I mean, you have what, 4 kids? Yeah, dude. I mean, you
Yes, I
don't
just had my 4th baby girl.
congratulations, man.
Thank you.
You don't give off that type of energy at all. So
It doesn't
yeah,
stop.
yeah, yeah. That's a lot of accusations, dude. And none of those people who are all ganging up on you, none of them really fuck with each other and outside that sphere, right? They all fight with each other.
They're all supposed enemies, but they showed up to fight me and to defend each
Exactly.
other.
Yeah, and you notice stuff like
Isn't
that,
that
especially
strange?
when you're awake.
I did notice some things, and I actually went after these guys because I know many of them are Jews pretending to be other leaders, like maybe white nationalists, like Handsome Truth, trying to lead people astray, divide white and others and such. And I noticed the pattern. I noticed the little clique. I noticed how they interacted with each other, and they passed the ball to one another, pretended to hate each other, but then kind of flirted and joked and made jokes and such. And basically, Adam Green, Brother Nathaniel, I believe also Stu Peters, and a number of these guys are this clique. They're controlled op and they're connected to one another. And I believe it's the final layer of gatekeepers, the Jews that kind of name the Jews or pretend to be whites and whites who name the Jews. And I think once we break through that, we realize it's really all the Jews. So I basically think that I'm up against the final gate and some of its gatekeepers right now, and I am bringing the battering ram.
Yeah, man, that's one way to put it.
They're not happy.
How long have you been exposing kind of going hard on the whole JQ thing? And
well, years, I guess, on that. Although I really ramped up Jews or demons after I got kind of comfortable with the the reception. I guess I didn't immediately jump into Jews or demons. I started out saying more things like Khazarian Mafia, Synagogue of Satan, that kind of stuff, and then I progressed into it with my confidence level because at some point I just realized, it is in fact true. It is in the Bible, and I just need to start telling people, even if they think I'm crazy. And it took me about a year. I grew this long, crazy beard. People may remember I went through this. The poets call it a dark night of the soul. It's like being reborn. It's a very painful process. I lost my faith.
I've been through it. Yeah.
Yeah, I lost my faith in Trump, and I realized that he's a never Jew or a Jew himself controlled puppet, king of the Jews, Vax Daddy now. But I had lost my faith in him. I was looking for hope, and I realized Q and Trump wasn't it. And then I found out all these other things about the Jews and power and such. and I went deeper down the rabbit hole. I mean, I knew they were in power, but I couldn't figure out why they were so evil until
You
I
knew
figured
they
out
were in power, but it really wasn't until this last year that a lot of people really knew.
final.
I mean, I'm
Yes.
sure there were people naming the Jew and exposing
Yeah,
these
for
things
decades.
before the whole October 7th thing, but you really started to notice stuff after that. It got very hyper focused on this one topic, and then you realize so many things that, like, so much shit that already. You put it, you can put other things kind of together with it and figure out some more truths, so to say.
What happened for me? Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. I could go on for 30 minutes. Okay, just interrupt me whenever.
Well, me too, because I ramble. What happened for me was basically this. I had researched every conspiracy you can think of, economics, history, philosophy. I had already started debating when I was in my teens against like the commie types with basically free market capitalism, laissez-faire, etc., Keynesian versus Austrian, etc., etc. So I was already kind of cutting my teeth on these ideas in the confrontation aspect, but I mostly just wanted to help people avoid all the poisons and sickness. Like my grandparents were getting cancer. They were spraying Roundup Ready, poison, glyphosate everywhere, eating all the GMO junk and taking the pills from the doctors. And I was just trying to help them. So I got into organic food. I started going down the rabbit hole of what's in the food, why it's in the food, who's behind it, and all of that. And I had every piece of the puzzle, so to speak, until that last piece, which was faith in God. And then when I had faith in God, when I accepted that, it was the unlocking piece. It was not just the last piece of the puzzle. It was the Rosetta Stone through which you can understand the entire map. And in fact, I call it the Seed War and Primordial Paradigm. The Seed War connects every single conspiracy that has ever happened, every single organized evil throughout all time and today, everywhere, every single time. But it really is that powerful.
Yeah.
And primordial paradigm is what happens when you arrive at the perspective that those in the Bible had. Fallen angels, Nephilim, a bloodline that is at war with mankind. The Genesis 3:15 seed of the serpent versus seed of the woman. The same people that white Jesus kept calling demon, demon, demon until they put him to death, when he would say things like, of your father, the devil, synagogue of Satan, repeatedly. Where I go, you cannot follow. Tares amidst the wheat. All of these patterns that he's establishing for us, that they are in fact not human. He even told us they're infiltrating fake Israelites in John 8:33-44, when they confess that although they're of Abraham, they were never enslaved, as in Egypt. So they admit that they're not actual Israelites. That's the infiltrating Jewish Pharisees. So basically, we've been dealing with the same bloodline that killed Jesus, the same ones from Genesis 6, etc. When you understand this and the cosmology and God, that is primordial paradigm. You'll never trust the fake science or the governments again, and you'll basically be in a position where everything makes more sense.
Yeah, and these are the people that started, the whole mysticism of the Kabbalah and Freemasonry and supposedly the Jesuits too, right? Like all that stuff is.
Yeah, the Jesuits.
Yeah. I mean, they were the keepers too, right? And so
one was Loyolus, who they call a saint, and who we would call in the Protestant world and I'm not a Protestant, I'm more than that, but the Protestants call him a mass murdering butcher. And he killed a whole lot of Christians and tortured them to death and such. So that was what the Jesuits were doing the whole time. That was the first one, and he just populated it with a bunch of other Jews. The Pope today is a Jesuit Jew.
Wow.
Yeah. Shit. They really are demons. I mean, they kind of wear a local face. They blend in with whatever color and people that you're, local to. They'll come at you with, something local maybe. But in fact, they will hate you no matter what color that you share. Like a black Jew will hate a black man. They will still side with a white Jew, because Jews are a bloodline of Satan against all mankind.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. I've seen it in real time.
Look at AOC and Stacey Abrams, I think a Jew, and Putin and Zelensky and all the things that are happening. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, dude. Yeah. When you see that both sides are really from the same bloodline, probably, or it's really the two heads of the same snake, two wings of the same bird type deal. You see that these elite families, their bloodlines go back to Babylon, right? And these priests of Bel, which actually I was going to kind of get your opinion. I know you reject the whole ancient aliens theory, but what do you think of the Sumerian pantheon and that original story? Because I've tied it into Enoch.
Yeah. So basically, and I guess I'll let you finish your thought first.
Oh no, man, you're fine. Right. You're fine. Go ahead.
So basically, I don't hate ancient aliens in the sense because they go through a lot of the same evidence that I go through, but I catch them lying to you in a number of instances. I've actually shown that at my Hidden History archive, hiddenhisstory.com, the Serapeum site. If you go there and you look up some of the ancient alien stuff, you'll find some of the episodes like with Noah where they change it to make it look like aliens did it. And that's their whole thing. They're Satanists saying aliens did it for all the evidence of giants and fallen angels. And it's all over the world. Everywhere you can throw a stick and you will probably hit giant bones or some megalithic structure. Rockwall, Texas. I mean, even in America, they're here. They had to flood Rockwall, Texas and the rock wall because they couldn't move the megalithic structures. The big stones, they had to turn it into a lake, cover up all the giant bones everywhere. But we still find them all over the place today. So we're dealing with this overflow of evidence all over the world that there is a biblical perspective, a primordial paradigm. Giants, monsters at war with man, yes, but also an ancient civilization who's got cities all over the world with stones we can't move, with structures we can't build today. Advanced stuff. Advanced sciences, astronomy, genetics, etc. They have cities underwater all over the ancient flood, pre-flood coastlines, about 400 feet below the water, off the coasts, all over the place, just forming lines of ruined, watered cities, flooded cities. So there's because the water level came up and didn't go as much back down. So a lot of the old coastline is actually still underwater. Pyramids all over the place, sphinxes and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So how did all of that get there? It wasn't cave people with like Stone Age tools and such. And in fact, the Sumerians are considered in most people's paradigm to be the most ancient written form of evidence of civilization, religion, etc. Therefore, it's superior to all because it's the first, right?
Right.
What they fail to accept is because science, the official science, basically ignores everything it doesn't want or twists it. Or kills it or hides it like giant bones sometimes with the Smithsonian. They're bait. Yeah. And they cover up a lot of the bones. We still have them. We still have evidences in genetics and such. But I forgot where I was going with that. Sorry. I've been up for 24 hours.
We were talking about the Sumerians.
Oh, Sumerians. Right. So there is an older civilization. They just won't tell you that they have language. It's called the Thracian civilization, all over the place. Beautiful.
What's it called?
Thracian. Sorry.
Thracian.
Yeah, Thracian. Like Thrace. So it's a beautiful art form. It's a beautiful. They were making all these like great potteries and such, kind of like the Greek stuff. And the language that they consider to just be art and pictograms and such is actually a language, and it basically reads like Egyptian. So if you understand how to read ancient Egyptian, you can basically translate the pre-Sumerian Thracian religion and texts, which talk about Adam and Eve and God. So actually, Moses is the oldest. He just rewrote it later. So the Bible, the Christian Bible, is the source of every religion on earth, all of which worship the fallen angels and Nimrod. Or you can call him Baal, Chemosh, Molech, Osiris, Apollyon, many names because of the babbling that God did after the Tower of Babel incident. But that's all the same stories, just different names.
Right. You see that a lot. And I don't know, man. I find a lot of these pantheons that some of these entities line up with the other ones, and you can see it through the same stories or their names through the etymology. And that's what's really that's what's fascinating to me. Especially the fall. Well, you had the first fall of Samael, who I put side by side with Enki from the Sumerian stories. If you were to, if it was an archetype or, something in the ether or a giant being who is like super ancient and has been here for a lot longer than we know. I don't know, man. then you have the second fall, that of Azazel and Semyaza, who you also see in the Sumerian stories as well, and Shamash, he is equivalent to the fallen angel Shamsiel, who, Shamash being the sun god, Shamsiel was teaching the signs of the sun. So, and you see that a lot with the rest of these people in this bloodline, because they are a family. But you're right that the stories have been probably changed up a bunch, and it's I don't know, it's definitely probably not all literal.
What happened? Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. I was gonna.
There's an important theme that has to be understood here. Basically, the falling away of God's faith, and then the taking over before Noah of the fallen angel worship, and all flesh becoming corrupted, and all the stuff around the ark and the flood and the animals and Noah and all that stuff, who was saved because he was pure in his generations, or genetics and Bible talk, in a time of all flesh being corrupted, or GMO people everywhere, GMO animals everywhere, trying to kill each other all the time. Basically, after the flood, they come back, and then you get Nimrod uniting the world against God, and basically, starting all these things. So you have to understand that there was this falling away, and then this pushing of this apostasy and false religion that became the Sumerian faith. Basically, it's still a twisting of Genesis, but it's the one that came right after with Noah. Like Noah and Nimrod were parallels at the same time, kind of like
Noah was a Sumerian king, right?
Yeah, and you're trying to map some of the different lineages to the gods and such. This is something I've seen a few other people attempt to do, like I think Trey Smith and Rob Skiba. It's very interesting and fascinating stuff. I've done a little bit of this myself, so I've got some notes on it. I'd love to compare with you sometime. Just
dude, for sure, man.
I've got charts that we could. Yeah,
hell yeah, dude. That's awesome. It makes me happy. We do have a Rumble rant. I was going to present this. And if you have anything you want to pull up, Dustin, from your website, or anything that you may have gotten into recently that you want to share, feel free, brother.
Well, this program won't let me share. It always drops it when I try, as soon as I open it up. But I can usually remember most of it off the top of my head, or I'll pull it up over here, and I can give you the link if we need to show visuals.
Okay. Shout out Bill the Butcher for $20 donation. Said, I like this convo. Just got here. Bill, thanks for coming and hanging out. I appreciate you donating, brother. But yeah, man, no. And learning, because I started reading the Old Testament from Genesis. I think I'm still on Leviticus, maybe. And you find a lot of esoteric undertones in it, with you see a certain amount of numbers, a certain amount of times everywhere. There's
the Bible codes.
7 ways to read the Bible, supposedly.
Well, there are a number of Torah codes that are like certain things in the Old Testament all point back to God's name and such. Every so many letters say certain things. There's certain codes in there. Some of that, though, I want to caution people, because that gets into things like gematria and such. And yes, there are codes, but gematria is basically it's a Jewish fake math science to turn anything into anything, which is basically allows them to pervert the Bible or truth.
It's alchemy.
It's alchemy with words and math, basically.
Right. Okay.
And they trick you, and anything can say anything because it sounded like something.
I wanted to get your opinion on that.
2 is 4, and 4 is how many eggs I had for breakfast. And eggs are what chickens make, and chickens actually spell this, and that means this.
Right. So it is some kind of Jewish magic of some sort, basically, right?
Shit I've ever seen. They cannot explain it. I'm sorry for my language.
Oh, dude.
I've had a rough day.
You're on Gray Pilled. Let loose, man. Feel free. It's Friday night, and you're right. You have had a long, I guess, a long 24 hours, right?
I spent half of it at least fighting, yes, on all these people with social media to clear my name with all their lies. They hate me.
Yeah. Some man, I
I get trolled all the
I
time.
actually tuned into it last night on my stream last night. We tuned into it for like 15 minutes. And this was right before
Brutal, right?
I think Stu Peters might have showed up. So
Oh,
I
that
ended
was
up
good then.
yeah, well, I ended up having to end the stream, but because but when I had to re-listen to it today, I listened to it for a few hours. I was like, holy shit. And you're just sitting there just like
Logic.
person by person by person. I'm just like, dude, this guy's been here for hours, bro.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how you do it, man.
Well,
I
I
just think
I
of
had no choice. I had some of these big QAnon and Jew and pedophile accounts coming together to call me a pedophile after I exposed someone for child porn. It's the strangest situation. They have zero evidence, but they all tried to hit me at the same time. All these people who are on my exposed lists, by the way, you go to nemosnewsnetwork.com/fake news, and all of these people have a page. That's why they're there, faking all these things about me from a website that says lie to hurt Dustin and piss him off and all these other things. It says I'm QAnon. Basically, that website is from a troll called Ghosts and the Capitalist Army, or it's from their lies about me. They figured out that I'm Q years ago and I'm not Q, but they've stuck on this for a long time. And then this thing has been brought from the recesses of the bowels of the internet to somehow attack me with all of these big Q accounts and like In the Matrix and Ariel and Stu Peters and such, just over and over and over, like total lawsuit material, all on camera or all on recording.
So was Stu Peters a Q guy?
No, not in his case. He is a Jew who kind of names the Jew. So I gave you 3 categories: pedophiles, Jews, or Q people. So I got In the Matrix, who's a Q person. I got Nick Alvier, who is a pro Ariel supporter, who when I exposed Ariel for child porn, Nick started to defend him about, all these lies and such. Very strange. And he's one of the J6 people who got away with it. I don't strange stuff. And then,
Right.
I could go through the whole list. I don't want to have to rehash it unless you guys want the details. I'm happy to. I put a thread on my Twitter post.
You did.
And,
You did.
it's all
Okay.
there, guys. I got them all. They basically get mad and keep calling me names. And I keep saying it's wrong for you to say these horrible things without evidence just because you don't like me or because I've exposed you over and over and over. But I barely got to talk.
That's what I saw. Yeah, man. So I was going to give you a chance tonight if there was anything you wanted to say to but
it's pretty much it. I summarized it. Like they got nothing. They actually went through my entire criminal record. I got speeding tickets. I got a couple things on there. I'm not lying about it. It was a long time ago.
I have a past too, man.
It's actually on. I have a testimony of the archivist post that has been out there for a long time. This has happened so many times. I've been doxxed so many times. They act like they got me or something. Anyway, went through all that, owned up to it, and then they kept trying to find pedophilia throughout 9 hours in my criminal record. Couldn't find anything, and then they moved the goalpost to attack me on other things. It was like a huge setup, and I basically took on all comers at the same time and beat them back with their fake news lies. They all got triggered, angry, and spiraled. If you've seen my debates, spiraled.
Yeah, man. It's funny to see you stay so calm.
I didn't the whole time. I got mad.
Oh no, not well on the space.
Last night I got mad.
Yeah, but usually on your debates, you remain very cool and collective. It's nice to see.
I was mad for like an hour out of 9 hours after everybody basically started to not let me speak and then just attack with fake news and calling me a pedophile for hours at a time. And when Stu Peters came in, they basically, people that were normally cool with me who were there to let me speak and such, and then suddenly they flipped. They let him speak. They let him completely control the room because he's some big famous account or whatever. They basically all kissed his butt, and he basically got to run all over me, and I didn't get to speak.
Yeah, that's
his drunk butt would never do that unless if there was a fair, even time debate situation. By the way, he comes in, attacks me with a bunch of friends and such, and overtalks me and filibusters for 40 minutes about how my name is not really Nemos. I'm an anon. and I've been doxxed for years. My real name is Krieger. It's warrior in Germany. It's the German word for warrior. So I'm not like ashamed of it. I didn't want my grandparents and my family to be harassed with 2 a.m. gang stalking,
Yeah.
like what happened.
Yeah. I completely understand that.
Yeah. Our founding fathers were anonymous too. So Stu Peters has a real problem with anons. Like if you don't use your real name, if you're hiding from the Jews trying to target you and destroy you for what you're saying on the internet, then you are a problem to him. Not to me. I honor anons. Our founding fathers had to be anon.
Yeah, I mean, y'all are all, or from what people see, y'all are all exposing the same kind of thing. So it's kind of, it sucks to see all them just gang up on you and not even hear you out, you know?
Yeah. So here's my thesis on this, and I'm happy to be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I believe that the controlled opposition are down to the Jews that kind of name the Jews. All the people like Alex Jones, who are clearly never Jews, all the noticers, the thinking people are paying close attention. They're realizing they won't call out the Jews for anything. So the only people who still have trust, the ones who are growing quick now, like Stu Peters on television with all this money to fly people everywhere and saying he's persecuted, those people are the ones they're looking to get our trust. The Trojan horses that when we need a hero, they will provide them. That was the Albert Pike quote. So
absolutely,
you get Jews who kind of name the Jews. Everybody tells me that Stu Peters names the Jew. I have 70-year-old women in my audience that name the Jew harder than Stu Peters. I'll give you some quotes. Not all Jews, not practicing Jews. I love Jews. I can keep going. So sometimes he says it's the Jews. Sometimes he says it's the Zionists. Sometimes he says other things. Now, lately, after I started to grill him for months, then he started to say it's all Jews. Sometimes.
Okay.
Then.
Because
But
I
a couple
didn't
weeks
know if
ago,
y'all were
he
ever
said
friends or
Zionists.
anything. Did y'all
No,
ever
no,
have
no.
like a good relationship or?
No, I was fine with Handsome Truth until he went after my children. In the Matrix, I helped the poor guy get started, and now he's betraying. That. When he was a no one, I let him on my channel to interview him, and then he started to like ride the Flynn thing, and now he's bashing me with all this lies. So, you really get to know who people are, I guess, in this. But basically. I forgot where I'm going with that. Someone says I am Jewish Jones. Yeah, Alex quote I am Jewish, and I call him Never Jew Jones. He never names the
never
Jew.
names the Jew.
Islam, China, the Nazis, the deep state, anything but the Jews.
Yeah. Somebody was just saying something. Oh yeah, because let's see. I'll admit I don't think there is pedos. Yeah, because you were living close to a school, and I've seen that with people that I've known. Someone like if you take a piss in a certain like in a certain short distance from a school or a church or something, you'll be put on a child, like some kind of list, or you'll be something to that will be on your record, and it's just
well. In my case, I grew up next to a Christian like elementary school academy, I think it is. I've never actually gone close enough to even know its name. It was basically a quarter-mile away through a forest. And I grew up there with my grandparents in a conservative Christian southern neighborhood in North Carolina. And never having interacted with any children there, apparently I got additional charges for having those pills that my sister left in my home. I had pills in my home. That's true. It's on my record. I'm not denying it. The final disposition was much lower, but still that happened and I didn't deny it. But apparently that gives them the right to just call me a pedophile for 9 hours with no evidence. That's basically what they did. And I got them all on record and I could sue them. I've got maliciousness and intent, even after being corrected, refusal to retract, even, to apologize. One guy retracted. One guy did. And then the rest have not. So I won't sue him. But basically, these guys are out to destroy me with no evidence, and they're willing to get together and call me a pedophile because I expose them as Jews. Or liars. Yeah. Or pedophiles. The one, yeah.
So I was going to ask you, so a lot of people think that the Nephilim were destroyed. How did they continue to live on?
So
because I have a theory that it was through this fallen angel DNA manipulation, so to say.
Like kind of with Nimrod becoming something.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that is I guess that's a potential possibility. But basically, what we see in the Genesis narrative is that Noah, Ham, Canaan giants,
Okay.
and it really does seem like Rob Skiba and others have said that basically, and this seems to be borne out not just in the biblical narrative, but it seems like it's the only thing that makes sense. And that is that the wives of the sons of Noah were Nephilim, from all flesh corrupted. Remember, all flesh was corrupted.
Wow.
And they
I
had
didn't even
no
think
wives.
about their wives, man.
Yeah. So basically, the way it works is the two good sons that were righteous, followed the rules, had no problems, all human children, epigenetics, chromosomes. Absolutely makes sense from a scientific perspective. Check out the Rob Skiba Strange Women in DNA video. But Ham was a sinner, stole from his father, and his father cursed Canaan. Now, why would you curse your grandson? Well, the grandson's already there, or Ham wouldn't have named his next son Canaan if it's a cursed name. So Canaan's already there, and presumably they can see that he was a six-fingered little giant. So that's where you get all of the Canaanites after the flood, which is the ones God wants to wipe out. God was not being a bully. He was not saying kill all the babies. He was saying kill all the GMO monsters that will grow up to be cannibal demon tyrants.
The
deep
hybrid
state.
giants. Yeah.
So yeah, in the post-flood world, you get King of Og, you get King Og of Bashan. Sorry, you get Goliath, you get Goliath's brothers, you get all these different Canaanite tribes that were known to be
all the
giants,
Rephaim
monsters, and demon worshippers. Yeah. So it's sons of Anak and stuff. So where'd all those giants come from? The Canaanites. And those are all for basically under the ban of destruction. God has ordered them destroyed, not me. It's in God's word. But that's basically who became the modern Jews, the deep state, which God warned us about in Judges 2. And in fact, it's people say, well, Joshua wiped them all out or something. It says Joshua did not wipe them all out. And in Judges 2, it says those tribes which Joshua failed to kill will be your deep state. So God told us, if you don't kill all the Jews, they're going to become your deep state. And I'll use them to test you if you'll follow my law.
Wow.
It is so deep and it is so beautiful. God's story fulfills so many details in our story right now. It connects all the dots. The prophecies are playing out before us. The prophecy of Obadiah 18 is Zionism and the end of all Jews. You'll see it if you just look at it from the perspective of Jews as Edom, Jews as the bad guys in the end of the Bible, because they're not the people of the Old Testament. The word Jew was not in original Bibles at all. I don't know if you've heard me say that yet. That was added later. The Judahites of the Bible, like Judah, like Jesus, were all European, pre-European bloodlines. Jesus was an Irish man before Ireland was there, a pre-Irish man. And they are pretending to be the people of God, even though they are the children of Satan genetically. And it is sick, but it is also prophesied. It says, "Beloved, I would not that ye be ignorant of this, but forgetfulness has come in part upon Israel for her sins." We have forgotten our identity, and the Jews moved in and stole it and then used it to hollow hoax us and take power everywhere and then genocide us all.
Yeah, dude. I've seen some of those videos, and we've watched them on the show of the maniacal rabbis and their
There's
prophecy.
something.
Yeah, dude, it's wild how just blatant they are with it, and just telling like us that they hate us so much, and that we will serve them or we will die.
I would love to get like a drunk rabbi on camera for a couple hours. It would be great.
I've seen something to that. They'll brag about stuff like that, about being the chosen people and all that. And
many of them are proud of it and basically don't think we can do anything about it. And they're like, you goyim can't stop us anyway. What do we care? We're the gods. That's their attitude.
Wow. And then you think about the gods that they prayed to in Babylon. Well, you have Bel, which Bel just comes from the word Belu, meaning Lord. But the story of Bel is very similar to the story of Marduk and his son Nebo. In the instance in the Bible, Nabu, or no, Nebo in the Bible, Nabu in Sumerian stories.
Marduk,
But
Melkart, there's a number of, yeah.
yeah. Merodach, right?
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
another
And
name for Marduk. And the way
the
he,
North American ones are hard to pronounce.
oh yeah, dude. But you see
Everybody has a
in
name for this guy.
Mars,
Yeah.
and that archetype you see throughout history, like you were saying, these same stories, uh, whether they be stories in the mystery schools or stories in other ancient texts.
Mhm.
Um, it's pretty crazy. But what do you think of that? I did want to ask you this: the story of Enoch. What do you think it was when they described him going and seeing like the firmament and all that stuff, flying with the angels? Was that him in like an astral realm, you think? Or
So, I can't vouch for 2 and 3 Enoch, but in terms of the first one, I'm pretty sure it says that he was asleep and he went there in a dream setting.
I got you.
I might be mistaken about that, but I'm pretty sure it says that at least once with the case of Enoch. When he was doing the scribing and communication to God for the fallen angels to play middleman for them after they asked for intercession. That's when he laid down somewhere and fell asleep after prayer or something. I forget the wording. But that's kind of, then he was with God basically in the spiritual realm.
Yeah, because in the Sumerian story, it says that one of the daughters of Enoch was taken by a fallen angel, and that was one of the Babylonian bloodlines where Rothschild came from, the red shield or Ra shield, right?
Oh,
And
well,
Ra being similar to Marduk in that sense of the story as well. When you read his son Asar or Osiris, who is what you were saying, the same story of Nimrod, and the same with Tammuz. And you could say that they're all brothers, or it may be all the same archetype. I look at it a lot of different ways, just like some people would look at them as aliens. You can look at them as ancient beings, like ancient humans.
no.
You can look at them as ethereal beings,
It's-
interdimensional beings. There's many ways to interpret it, but
so the Rothschilds thing is there's a more recent connection between those two lines. Like they do come from the Genesis 6 fallen angel Genesis giants, the Nephilim. The Jews are of them, but by way of Edom. Now, when you get to the middle part of the Bible, right before Jesus and such, the Judahites, the white people, the Judahites, the actual Israelites conquered the Jew Edomites, the Idumeans in Greek, and said, you can be part of our people. So Judah became Judea. And now you have Judahites and you have Judean Edomites. Okay. And the Judean Edomites are calling themselves Jews today. And they're not. It's like saying it's like being an African who moves to France and says, I'm a Frenchman because I learned France or French. Sorry, I'm tired.
it's okay.
And it doesn't actually hold up. And that's what the Jews are doing. And they've mixed a bloodline and a nationality into the word Jew, which was added into the Bibles later, when they took God's name out, for example.
And they've inverted all the stories.
Yeah, so now everyone doesn't look at the right place. The real Israelites of the Bible are the European Israelite, the lost tribes of Israel are I'm sorry, I'm so tired. Okay. Are the Western European nations, and the bad guys at the end of the Bible, Edom, are the Jews. And it goes into a lot of prophecies about Edom. You talked about the Rothschilds, which means red sign, or red shield, and shield in German means sign. It's a red sign. They're under the red banner, the red sign, right. Red blood, red killing. It's all about Edom, who was born red. They had this red obsession ever since that point. And Edom, or Esau, and Esau, which became Edom, this is the one that God promised war with every generation. Amalek, the main branch, which is probably the Rothschilds today. In fact, King Saul was replaced with King David after King Saul refused to kill all the Amalekites. And King David, a little boy after God's own heart, a giant slayer with faith, grew up to be king and helped kill a bunch of them. Now, his son started to tax them, and the tribes had begun to tax them by the time of Solomon, and they had been cheated into a peace treaty. So they didn't wipe them all out like God said. And because of that, we have Jews today as our deep state. It's the same bloodline. They still sometimes have 6 fingers. Yes, they're not giants anymore, but they're diluted after thousands of years. They're still evil. They have the same religion in the Bible. And the bad guys at the end of the Bible, if you look at Edom and Amalek, every prophecy for them matches the Jews. All the curses and evil things they do, and how they would come from a great northern tribe and invade the land of the West, or America, the land of unwalled villages, and how they would conceive an evil thought, which would be what we would call the protocols of the learned elders of Zion, which came about in the grand the grand Sanhedrin or satrap of Constantinople, where they conceived the predecessor to those documents before they were published. They had a plan, 5-pointed plan, to infiltrate and kill everyone in the West and pretend to be the Jews.
Dude, whenever I think of these prophecies that the Jews talk about with how the world will be, or Edom will be destroyed in like 9 minutes or something, it just reminds me of them with nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
Just basically trying to get everyone to come to Israel, and then nuking the states is what I think the long-term goal is, the end game for the 1%, what you would call the Illuminati or the cabal, whatever.
They're bringing chaos for sure. And I want to point out for people who maybe are atheists or other religions and such, the Jews believe, or they don't really believe, but the con is that everybody they don't like is Edom and Amalek, because it gives them an excuse to say they're the biblical bad guys and that they can conquest them. However, again, it's Edom pretending to be Israel going after Edom, and they're saying that everybody that they don't like is Edom or Amalek. So every baby in Gaza or Lebanon, Christian or Muslim, every church, every mosque, every hospital, every playground, every school, all of those are suddenly Edom when they want to bomb them. But really, if you ask those crazy ass rabbis we were talking about earlier, you get them drunk on video, they'll tell you Edom is the white people, the West,
the white race.
Now Edom is, and they'll tell you we have to be destroyed. So there's only 2 options here that make any sense whatsoever. Either the Jews are telling the truth for the first time with 0 evidence whatsoever, and we're the Edom bad guys of the Bible, and all the Christians have to suicide to fulfill their Judeo-Christian, role, or it's in fact reversed, and they're not. So my brain is kind of shutting down on me because I haven't had sleep in about almost 30 hours now.
Oh, wow. So you haven't slept either?
No, I stayed up all through the night. It was like 7 a.m. when I got off of them with the grill session of 9 hours of calling me a pedophile. So after I, finally got 5 minutes to talk, and then they just talked over me, yelled at me, and just kept going. Then I had to go and save all the evidence, start to make reports, start to show build the thread that I built to show what happened, when it happened, how it happened, where they're lying, where's the article coming from that tells them to lie about me and stuff. All of this, I'm tearing these guys apart in the permanent record. Basically, what they did was they went and they convinced roughly 100,000 to 200,000 people, and 66% of them voted Dustin is guilty at the end of it, because these guys just kept saying over and over and over the same lies, and I was not allowed to speak. I don't know how they got to guilty. They had no evidence. They never found anything after 9 hours of handsome truth, and them others sitting there trying to pour through everything from my hot dog cart to doxing my wife, everything. They still had nothing. But that's basically,
I don't know.
That's what
your family has to be brought into it, man. I don't like it either.
It's sick. What they're doing is pretty disgusting. Like, to go after someone because they expose you, even if you don't like them. Basically, most of these guys are dogpiling me because they don't like I'm a flat earther, or they don't like I have an Asian wife and kids. That's really most of them are like, we shouldn't let you talk, blah, blah, blah. You're just a race mixture. Blah. And I'm not a white nationalist. I'm a Christian nationalist. But this is basically what I keep dealing with over and over and over. It's the same thing. It's hatred, not logic. And it is a support of some of these people. Sorry.
Oh, dude, you're good. So you're a flat earth guy, right?
I am. I'm a biblical earther. I do not subscribe to flat earth. The biblical earth is a little bit more advanced and complicated than that. It is flat, yes, but also young, central. It is the center of the universe. It
So
is
would you
proving.
say it could be flat and hollow?
Yeah, I think it can be flat and hollow. It's thick crusted and such, but basically you have a firmament. It's an enclosed system. It is flat, observably everywhere we can look. There's no evidence of any actual curve. It's young, about 6,000 years old. It's written on numerous forms of evidence, but for one form of evidence, every cell of every human body on Earth proves this. We have, let's see, stationary. It does not move whatsoever at all, ever. I think I covered it all. So yeah, young, flat, hollow, stationary, geocentric, and domed with a firmament, basically. That is our actual cosmology. That is the observable science. That is what I spank the PhD scientists in the debates with. I know people think I'm just bragging, but no, I want you to understand that when I go into a debate on evolution and flat earth and biblical science with a PhD evolutionist, retired science professor, I reckon, not because of me being special, but because the science does not support what he says, because he does not understand that the actual science is suppressed and the stuff he believes in is faked, and because we have learned the arguments. Now, Whitsitt is way better than I am in terms of debate, but the truth is vicious when you let it out with just a couple facts. That's why I'm undefeated in debate, because I know these topics and I bring all the answers to the stuff that they say. So I like to I'm not gloating, I guess, but I'm gloating for God.
I was gonna say,
It's
feel
not
free
me.
to gloat if
I'm
you
no
want to,
one.
brother. You've
It's not
earned
me.
it.
I'm no one. But on standing on God's word, I am undefeated on these crazy out there, topics that everyone seems to think is easy to debunk, but they get so triggered when I bring up my positions that are fringe compared to what they believe. So these guys don't want me to have any sort of influence, and they want to tear me down.
Well, I'm glad that I could bring you on the show to hang out, man.
Yeah,
thank you for
anytime.
still being able to come on. So what do you think of Antarctica?
Oh man, there's so much history there.
Well, we can get into it on another episode. I just kind of want to get your opinion. Do you think there's land beyond the ice wall?
I get into this with some of the other, they call themselves flat earthers. I think biblical earth is a better term, but some of the other cosmology folks, and there's different opinions about how far the land goes before you hit the firmament. Some people think there are other ponds that you can get to and such. I believe it's about 800 miles past the ice wall, the high jump, you get to the firmament. And a number of things make me believe that, including the Admiral Byrd stuff, including the Operations Deep Freeze and Fishbowl and Dominic and all the other stuff that they did down there. My dogs are making noise. Okay. And they had a number of secret missions down there, but basically they started to hunt Nazis. They started to put secret bases. They started to find the firmament, realize space is fake. Then they started to make it illegal to go there. So then they started NASA, whose symbol is a forked tongue speaking through a flat disc. And then you're not allowed to basically question any of these things ever, because science, trust the science. And 500 years ago, they invented something called learning against learning in Rome, which is also a major part of what we're dealing with right now. So all of this cosmology from globe Earth to us spinning around the sun and such is actually directly from the pre-flood lies of the fallen angels, taken from emerald tablets of Hermes by people like Newton, who was obsessed with them. He stole the idea of gravity and other things from pre-flood pagan texts, from fallen angel lies. And that's why we have lies today that look like science, that convince people that God is not real and aliens are your friends.
Right, right. These beings are benevolent in some way, when no, that's not the case. It's a deception. And dude, there's a whole, we can talk about some other stuff that we can get into on some other episodes, man.
Not too much. I got a couple more minutes in me, but I don't want to go into like a
no, man. I appreciate you giving me an hour. Like I said, we didn't plan for yesterday to happen, but we did plan this show. So unfortunately, you had to deal with that.
Yeah,
before coming on.
I showed up.
No, you did, and it made for some good conversation as well, man. But
when I got to talk, did.
Oh yeah. No, it was hard to hear you, dude. Very hard to hear you.
Well, they would also kick anyone out who said, maybe you guys should let Dustin talk. So it was very one-sided, but I think a lot of those guys who were involved in that felt bad about it later and backed off. I mean, they're not calling me a pedophile anymore. That's Stu Peters and the Matrix and these big ringleaders that initially spread these lies. But most of those guys are like, okay, no, you're clearly not. There's no evidence for it. But there's like the truth teller guy in Stu Peters, and he loves Stu Peters. So that's why he went from friend to foe and immediately started lying about me with all this stuff again. So there are still some people out there who are just maliciously spreading lies with no evidence whatsoever. I'm basically just kind of repeating myself on this, but it bears, it's an important point. Just because someone is a flat earther or married an Asian woman, has mixed kids or something like that, and you don't like what they believe in or don't agree with them, doesn't mean that you can call them a pedophile 1,000 times and not let them respond.
Right.
And when I showed up, I wrecked those guys until they muted me. So, and by wreck, I mean I sufficiently and continually rebutted their lies with logic, reason, evidence, and compassion. It got so bad by the end of it that they were letting people call me a psychopath and a narcissist for asking to be able to defend myself.
And you were muted. And
it was a wild, crazy thing. Everybody saw it, though.
For sure, dude.
Yeah.
Well, we have another Rumble rant from Bug Fights for the Boys. Thank you for the $5 donation, Carl. I appreciate it, brother.
Thank you, Eamon Rap. I saw that comment.
What did Eamon say? Let's see. Dustin Nemos showed up, so he is not gay. No, he is.
A lot of people see that in the last 2 days. I showed up for like 30 hours straight, and I'm exhausted, but still standing.
Yeah, most people in the chat were saying that it seemed like you were kind of set up to be bombarded.
Felt like it.
Another $5 donation from Screwed Up Rebellion. Christ is risen, hail Christ. Yes, indeed, Screwed Up Rebellion. Thank you for the $5 donation, man.
Amen.
I appreciate you guys. Well, Dustin, did you want to put your plugs in, and we can go ahead and get you out of here?
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I would have forgotten if you hadn't mentioned me, because I'm just basically ready to like hit the couch with my dog over here. I'm so tired. DustinNemos.com has all my websites. A lot of the esoteric stuff that you guys, your audience, may find the most interesting is the hiddenhisstory.com or theserapeum.com. Same thing. It's the Hidden History website. It's an archive of all the stuff that's disappearing and being censored and connecting some dots. I mean, I basically show you the evidence and how I got to the conclusions I got to based on all these historical experts, people like Jesus, people like Rob Skiba, people like science, people like archaeology, etymology, anthropology, archaeology, archaeogenetics. I mean, I go into different fields and I basically show you the seed war, and it's completely undeniable when you see it. They even admit it. I can even show you Jews talking about how they're not human and how they're the Nephilim, but people don't want to see it. So yeah, DustinNemos.com. I rambled a bit too long, but I'd be happy to come back on and answer any questions. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was awesome having you. I'm gonna read the rest of these Rumble rants and put my plugs in. If you want to get out of here, you're more than welcome to. We appreciate you coming on Grey Pill, Dustin.
All right. Good night, guys.
Good night, brother. What's up, guys? That was awesome. That was awesome. Another Rumble rant from Meat Cavern. Great job pulling this together, Jules, and respect to Dustin for showing up. Yes, I like Dustin, guys. Good energy there, and to me, he's very transparent. So I appreciate him coming on. Give me about 15 or 20 minutes. All right, guys, and we will go live again. So thank y'all for coming and hanging out. Thanks to everyone who donated. If I don't see y'all in a little bit, I will see y'all later. Stay gray pilled.
Learn about the full history of the Bavarian Illuminati. Adam Weishaupt, Alumbrados, Jesuits, Rosicrucians, Freemasons, and and more. From the 18th century to modern day, we expose it all. That's right, it's the Illuminati comic from Donut and Paranoid American. Get yours now at IlluminatiComic.com.